Saluton from BA. This is the Rorschach Multilateral update from the 6th of August 2024, a summary of what's going down in the world's major multilateral institutions. To kick things off, NATO countries, including Poland, have commenced air defense maneuvers to bolster Polish airspace adjacent to Ukraine and Russia. Operation Eastern Aurora, supported by British and American forces, aligns with the deployment of tens of thousands of troops to the Poland-Belarus border, which is facing an escalating migration crisis. This plan involves ongoing surveillance of Polish airspace near the Ukrainian and Russian borders, ensuring coordinated responses to any infractions. Moreover, the Polish military has affirmed enhanced information sharing with its allies as part of this effort. Our Poland update has a new episode coming out next Friday. Find the link in bio and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. The European Union announced on Wednesday the 31st the postponement of negotiations with Bangladesh on a new cooperation agreement, following criticism over the way the Bangladeshi government handled violent protests that led to at least 150 deaths this month. This cooperation pact aims to boost trade, economic, and developmental relations between the EU and Bangladesh, with the EU being Bangladesh's largest trading partner, accounting for 20% of its trade in 2023. Last week, EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell condemned the reported shoot-on-sight policy in Bangladesh, the killings carried out by authorities, the deaths of law enforcement personnel, mass arrests, and extensive property damage. Tensions are rising in the Middle East, and the United Nations Security Council has taken note. On Wednesday the 31st, the United Nations Security Council called for intensified diplomatic efforts to prevent a broader Middle East conflict following the assassinations of two key terror leaders, which have escalated tensions. Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in Tehran early Wednesday, leading to threats of retaliation against Israel and concerns that the Gaza conflict could expand into a wider Middle Eastern war. This assassination came less than a day after Israel's strike in Beirut killed Hezbollah's top military commander in response to a rocket attack in the Golan Heights that claimed the lives of 12 children. Also in the Middle East, the United Arab Emirates, in cooperation with the World Health Organization, has initiated a critical operation to evacuate 85 seriously ill and injured Palestinians, including cancer patients needing specialized treatment, along with 63 family members. The evacuation will take place from Ramon Airport in Israel to Abu Dhabi, using the Karam Abu Salem crossing. This initiative reflects the UAE's strong humanitarian commitment to supporting the people of Gaza during the current crisis and underscores its ongoing dedication to providing aid. On Monday the 29th, the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, announced the completion of a review that allows Egypt to withdraw over $800 million. The IMF observed that Egypt's measures to restore macroeconomic stability are starting to produce results, but called for further efforts to address the challenges posed by state-owned enterprises. This review is the third under Egypt's ongoing 46-month IMF loan program, which was approved in 2022 and increased to $8 billion this year in response to an economic crisis marked by soaring inflation and significant foreign currency shortages. Egypt has reported a shift to a flexible exchange rate system. IMF reviews are assessments conducted by the IMF to evaluate the economic and financial policies of its member countries. During these reviews, IMF staff analyzed the country's economic developments, fiscal policies, and structural reforms, providing policy recommendations to promote stability, growth, and sustainable development. Additionally, the reviews assess compliance with any financial assistance programs or arrangements the country may have with the IMF. The findings are usually summarized in a report and shared with the country's authorities and often the public. The United Nations' Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, showed that food prices are changing. According to data released on Friday the 2nd, the United Nations World Food Price Index showed a slight decrease in July. This decline in the index for cereals was partially balanced by increases in the prices of meat, vegetable oils, and sugar. The FAO strives to ensure food security for everyone by guaranteeing that people consistently have access to sufficient, high-quality food to lead active, healthy lives. The head of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe's Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights mission expressed satisfaction in collaborating with all interested parties in the country's electoral process. Speaking at a press conference in Baku on Thursday the 1st, Bushati noted that the mission was invited by the Central Election Commission, the OSCE, representing 57 member countries, includes Azerbaijan, which has pledged commitments to human rights and election observation. The current mission's core team consists of 11 members, primarily operating in Baku but also visiting other regions of Azerbaijan. During the weekend, the Economic Community of West African States' Parliament Joint Committee on Agriculture, Environment and Natural Resources, Energy and Mines, and Infrastructure recommended that member states standardize their regulations on plastic waste treatment and management. They also advised creating policies to educate the public about the hazards of plastic waste. The committee further urged member states to implement existing regulations on the harmonization of plastic products and environmentally responsible plastic waste management. These suggestions were part of a draft report adopted at the end of a one-week meeting in Winneba, Ghana. The ruling administration in Bangladesh is facing growing international pressure over its repressive tactics used to suppress student protests against government job quotas. Bangladesh has been referred to the International Criminal Court for Crimes Against Humanity in recent days, while the UN has offered its support to Bangladesh for conducting an investigation into the violence and fatalities associated with these measures. The Inter-American Development Bank, or IDB, held its third housing forum on Thursday the 1st, addressing the housing deficit across Latin America. The event gathered officials from Paraguay, Guatemala, the Dominican Republic, Panama, El Salvador, and Argentina. In a panel discussion led by Tatiana Gallego, head of the IDB's Housing and Urban Development Division, leaders from these countries examined the housing challenges and reviewed the results of recent studies conducted by the IDB in the region. The involved parties discussed the challenges at length and concluded that more needs to be done to ensure adequate housing in the region. Also in the Americas, the Pan American Health Organization, or PAHO, has announced a new partnership with the Global Health Initiative UNITAID, formalized through a Memorandum of Understanding to enhance the HIV response in Latin America and the Caribbean. The collaboration involves a $5 million grant aimed at reducing HIV-related deaths by improving the prevention and management of advanced HIV disease. The project will address gaps in national HIV programs, strengthen surveillance, speed up the rollout of new tests and treatments, and provide training for healthcare workers. Dr. Jarbas Barbosa, the director of PAHO, emphasized that decentralizing HIV care to bring it closer to patients is crucial for improving access and accelerating progress toward eliminating HIV-related deaths. Lastly, on Tuesday the 30th, the head of the World Trade Organization, or WTO, highlighted the current challenges facing global trade, noting a rise in protectionism. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, WTO Director General, pointed to services, digitalization, and the green economy as key areas for the future of trade in the organization's annual report. She expressed concern about the increasing protectionism and unilateral policies emerging amid geopolitical tensions and the climate crisis. Okonjo Iweala also warned that trade might be beginning to fragment along geopolitical lines after years of discussions about economic decoupling. And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate all our listeners that subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms, especially those who share the show with their friends and loved ones. If you ever want to share an episode by sending a small MP3 file to someone through a messaging app, you can download every episode directly from our website at www.rorschach.com/multilateral. Thank you. See you next week.